Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yako, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas, Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Just kidding. But, anyways, fans, thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching. And today we have a very, very special guest. I'm so excited. He's a motivational speaker, a filmmaker, a TikToker, and a rabbi. Give it up for Rabbi Raps. How's it going?
Hello, hello. It's an honor to be on your program. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. I heard it was kind of hard. I had to, call a couple people, get through you. So it was amazing.
I probably should have a manager, but I don't.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. So I want to share a story that happened to me actually last week. And so pretty much the new movie came out, The Matrix Resurrection. I was kind of excited. I was like, you know what? I'm very big into philosophy. So I was like, why not? This looks like a good movie. So I get there by myself. It's okay. Take yourself out sometimes. So I went out and I get there, right? And I'm not lying. In the beginning, halfway of the movie, I fell asleep.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, all you hear was like my nose, and I was just zoned out because they made me breathe very comedic. And that movie is not supposed to be comedic, it's supposed to be serious. And I didn't like it, I didn't laugh, so I fell asleep. So it's so sad. But the crazy thing, when I fell asleep, and I caught myself a few times, I heard somebody go boom, 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 and I woke up in my heart, and like I thought I had a heart attack or something because I heard a really big noise, and I knew it was somebody next to me, and I was like, "Man, am I in the Matrix? Am I in the real world, or is this reality?" I wasn't sure, so I was freaking out, and then right to the middle, it got better. There was. I was like, okay, now we're getting to the main story. And so at the very end, they had like any credits. So I was okay, this is good. And the guy next to me, he came up to me and said, "Look, I want to apologize for waking you up." And I said, "Thank you." And he goes, "I'm gonna be honest with you. You snored really loud." So he said it was so loud that my wife kept telling me, hey, let him sleep. Let him sleep. He's tired. Okay. Yeah, probably a long day. And I knew I was snoring because I called myself, and he told me something. He said that everybody in the front row, they turned their head at the same time and to look at me. And for those who don't know, this is a reference from the Matrix. So the programmers are the bad people who can turn from an animal or a person to an agent. And what they did, the front row, is what Agent Smith would have done. Turn around and said, "We found Neo." You know what I'm saying? So I got kind of scared. And he said that the people were getting so mad that there was guys getting up that they wanted to fight me because I couldn't stop snoring. And the girlfriends would say, "Come on, babe, calm down. It's okay. It's okay. He's tired, right?" And so, so the guy said I had two options. I could either not wake you up, and you would have gotten beaten up by everybody in the front row, which would have looked bad because you're technically asleep, or wake you up and kind of suffer the consequence of feeling bad to wake you up, but I'd rather have you okay and you're watching the movie now. So, and I told him I really appreciate that. And the crazy thing that so it was him and his wife, and the guy next to him was a really close friend of mine I haven't seen for like 3 years. And it was shocking. Like, it's just a small world. I didn't know that. But that's a story I wanted to share, how Hashem saved my life. I mean, I don't know if it was true, right? Because I fell asleep, but I thought it was nice. And Rabbi, do you remember or think of any stories that were Hashem saved your life?
Well, I'm thinking about the Matrix because I'm like really behind. I'm still on the first one, like from, I don't know, was it 15, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
which was like cutting edge back then. But really, the Matrix is like a parable. Our life is, living the dream, thinking that this is reality when really this is the dream and reality is somewhere else. So I think there's a lot of parallels, a lot of Jewish parallels from the movie to the Jewish view on reality. Right? You have this concept that our soul is real and the spiritual world, like heaven, is the real world. And then the soul has this virtual experience we call life, which we think is real for whatever, please God, 100, 120 years. And every once in a while, someone wakes up and says, hey, this world's not really real. And everyone goes, yeah, right, come on. And that's what it is, right? So, but in Judaism, the idea that, in other religions, there's the concept of heaven's the goal. We all want to go to heaven, like everyone wants to go to heaven. It's interesting. In Judaism, heaven's nice, but the goal is actually this world because each person is given a certain amount of years and a certain mission to do. And our job, in short, is to bring light to the world. My soul is meant to bring a certain light, and your soul, David, is meant to bring a different kind of light to the world. And no two people could have the same mission. Everyone has a unique mission that only you could do, that no one else can do. So in the Jewish religion, while we believe in heaven, we believe that this is the opportunity here in this world. Every moment is a blessing and every second is an opportunity to fulfill our purpose. So that's my Jewish take on the Matrix.
I love it. I love it. That was deep. I like that. and, and Rabbi, a little bit about so my fans can get to know you a little bit more too, and me too, right? Tell us a little bit about your background, your hobbies, and what neighborhood you grew up from.
Okay, so my name is Avrohom Rapport, aka on social media Rabbi Raps. And recently I fell into the world of social media, making TikToks and Instagrams about Judaism. I'll tell you about that soon. I grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. My parents were sent by the Lubavitcher Rebbe as Chabad emissaries to Atlantic City. I grew up here. My childhood was, on a beach town in the shadow of the casinos. Not a lot of religious people, but like our Chabad family, we were here to not let the neighborhood change us, but hopefully change the neighborhood. And after many years, my parents really accomplished a lot. 15 years ago, I got married to my wonderful wife, Masha, and I moved down to this area. And we opened another branch about a mile outside of Atlantic City of Chabad. So about 15 years, I've been an outreach rabbi. The truth is the word outreach is not a good word because out means someone's out and I'm in. The truth is it's in reach. We're all in. We just need to reach in deeper. I became a rabbi. You asked me, why did I become a rabbi? I became a rabbi because my father was a rabbi and his father was a rabbi. And his father was a rabbi, pretty much going back for many, many, many generations. It was sort of expected that that's what I was going to do. But the truth is, if you asked me, was I going to be practicing as a rabbi? The answer was absolutely not. And after I finished rabbinical school, I opened a film company. And I did I did promotional film work for nonprofits. That was my thing. And it's a whole story how I transitioned from that into actually working as a rabbi, using my rabbinic degree instead of my film hobby as my life's work. So that's a story in a nutshell. About a year and a half ago, when COVID hit, or 2 years ago, who's counting? The synagogue shut down. No one showed up, and I realized I have a camera on my phone, and there's something called Instagram. I never knew what exactly that was. And I started to make videos And suddenly I started to meet people from all over the world, all different religions. It was very interesting. And that's how I got into making social media videos about Judaism. It just happened about a year and a half ago. That's
Wow.
my story.
I love it. I thought it was very interesting. I'm gonna be honest. So I've been following you in your TikToks, and I said, "Wow, this is so cool." Like I like that you're not afraid to ask questions, especially when you go to like when you have there was like a big rabbi convention you went to, and you asked the rabbi, "Hey, rabbi, can you give let everybody know real question?" I like that you weren't afraid. You went up to them and you asked them, and I thought that was so cool because I felt like I was there with you. Like I don't know, maybe
Okay.
that was the goal. I'm not sure, but you see.
Yeah, yeah. That's the what I did was I said I'm at a convention with I did this twice, two different conventions with 100 rabbis. I said you ask any question you want, and I'll randomly walk up to a rabbi and ask the question. And I got over 100 questions in like a couple minutes. They just came pouring in, but as quickly as I can, I ran around and I just went, "Hey, what's Judaism say about the afterlife?" And you know, you know. What do you say about an intermarriage or whatever the thing was? And you're right, it was a lot of fun.
Wow, no, that's great.
You know what I like about those videos? A lot of these rabbis are not on social media, but most of them are really brilliant, creative people that no one will ever see because you'll never go to their synagogue and sit in front of them. So I felt like you got so much talent here, and I'm going to use my little camera to share it. And it was fun.
Wow, good, Rabbi. I think that makes you stand out, to be honest, because it's a very TikTok has become they say in the media that younger generations are actually spending more time on TikTok than YouTube and television, which is a big deal because TikTok is like about 5 to 10, 15 seconds videos. And it's easy. It's like swipe. All right, next. Let me go to the next video. So it's very quick pace. And it's kind of sad that our generation, their how you say it, their mind cannot pay attention so long. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? It is, but it's the reality. And so I could sit here and say, oh, woe is our generation. I can't give a 15-minute sermon. Or I could say, how can I say the 15-minute sermon in 15 seconds? And I think that's our job now, to
Yeah.
deal with the reality. We're not going to undo things. You're not going to change people. But whoever could say what they want to say in 15 seconds, that's what's going to be heard in the next next year or two. And then it'll go down to 10 seconds.
I like that. I like that. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. And Rabbi, if I could, pick at your brain a little bit, with this whole pandemic, I hear a lot of theories, um, and I talked to some of my teachers as well. And I wanted to know your input. Do you feel like the pandemic was like a plague almost?
You know, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not Moses. I'm not a prophet. It definitely felt like a plague, that's for sure. It's probably the closest thing to a plague that our generation has ever experienced, but also was a wake-up call to what's important in life. Um, Also, it was there were some, as terrible as this pandemic was, and I'm sure everyone did, and it's horrible, but there were some silver linings, and that those silver linings are the way people pivoted and realigned their life to think about like what's really important at the end of the day. I think a lot of people did some soul searching the past 2 years.
Hmm. I was gonna say too, like for me, it was so hard to not go to shul for Shabbat. That was the hardest thing for me. And even though I will pray with my siddur at the house, I felt like something's missing, right? Because I don't have a minion. There's just me at the house.
Right.
And I felt like it was a very like not just me, but I bet a lot of people too felt that struggle of not being able to connect, with a community, even though we were still together, spiritually speaking, and but not being able to go to, like I said, to shul. It was very hard for me. It made me very sad. I was probably depressed in that year. I'm not gonna lie, because I was alone. I lost my job. Not lose my job, was furlough, and I was going to different what to call food pantries to pick up some food because I didn't have any money and I was struggling. And for those who don't know, so I moved from Chicago to Vegas, and I don't have any family and friends out here. I do have a friend, um, but she lives in a whole different area in Vegas. She's the wife rabbi, so I'm the daughter's rabbi, and very nice family. But that's too far. I can't go. That's another 30 minutes away, so I couldn't go and see how they're doing. But yeah, I got to be honest. It was a very very tough time.
And now we have this whole new waves, and people are going back into hibernation. So it's uh, it's difficult. You're right.
Rabbi, can I ask you? I wanted to know, what do you feel about if people were to do Zoom, right? Let's say on a weekday, right? They want to do shakari, they want to pray in the morning, right? But they can't go, right? Maybe because of COVID or something. Does it still count even though you're not there, right? And let's say you see a video, someone's recording, they're doing they're praying, right? Even though you're not there, does it still count like if you were there? I just want to know. It's a
Great
weird
question.
question.
It's a great question. Like if I'm in synagogue and we only have 9 people for the minyan, right? So can we just zoom someone in as number 10?
Right? Is that possible?
Right. So it's unfortunately the answer is no, we can't do that. We need 10 human beings with heartbeats to be present, and they have to hear with the physical ear in the room or very close to the room in order for us to count, according to Judaism, for us to count in the minyan. It would be nice to just be able to zoom everyone in. Now, we did these like Zoom minyanim, but we didn't count it as a real minyan. For example, when we were shut down, we used to get together and daven and do all this stuff, but we wouldn't do the Kaddish, which you're familiar with, right? Yeah. Which you only say when you have 10 people because it's not acceptable. You need human physical beings together. And I think that's one of the beautiful, and so we weren't able to pray with a minyan for some of this time. It was unfortunate. But I do think that it's one of the beautiful things about Judaism, that the way it's structured, the religious aspect of having a minyan is that we will always have to be together in a room with other human beings. Today, things are becoming more and more virtual, right? What's Facebook doing? They're calling it metaverse or something, metaverse. Right? We'll be walking around like in this, like, talk about matrix reality. It's going to happen. It's starting to happen. Even now, no one's going to work in an office. You're Zooming. That's fine. Technology is amazing. But human beings also need contact with real people. To be in the presence of a person, there's an energy that doesn't communicate over a digital platform. There's something about being in the presence of a real person virtually. Now, that's not the reason why God tells us to have a minyan. The minyan is the minyan. That's what God tells us to do. However, these are definitely advantages that having a real minyan will always give us. Wow. And Shabbos also. Look, don't forget, on Shabbos we don't use technology, right? Right. So even if you say, yeah, we will allow people to be together virtually, which is not the case, but on Shabbos you can't be virtual. So we'll always have at least one day grid off the matrix, right? To be in real life. And it's actually a great blessing. I'll tell you, I am highly addicted to my phone. I have a serious case of phone addiction. Every time it buzzes, every time it beeps, like most of us, you get a rush, you get an excitement, right?
right.
People are interested in what I have to say. But it's also very unhealthy. Shabbos comes, and at the last second, I hit the power button, I throw it in the drawer, and I have to tell you, a sense of relief and peace floods over me like I don't have the whole week. And for 25 hours, I am off the grid, unplugged. You want to find me, you knock on my door, we sit on the couch, we have a coffee or a booze or whatever you want, and we talk like real human beings.
That
And I think it's beautiful.
yeah, it's great. Especially I feel like one thing is um you have that one-on-one interaction or even with a bunch of people, especially eating for Shabbat, for Shabbos, especially when you eat shonts. That's amazing. It's nice and hot. You know, those are the best. I'm not gonna lie. Um and the challah bread. So I feel like I agree with you. I feel like having that family time and even having a real conversation where there's no memes popping up out of nowhere, you don't get a notification. But I feel like you're right. That's, even before technology, that's how we used to communicate. So I feel like that's a very beautiful thing. And I'm with you 100%. And Rabbi, I have to ask you the trivia question.
Oh, okay.
So, Rabbi, I remember there was a time where I was young, I was in college, and at the same time, I was studying at the yeshiva school for a minute. And there was a part that the rabbi was reading in the Gemara where it talked about tying shoes. And he mentions a lot about Rashi, right? And I want you to, if you can, because it's been in my head this whole week, if you can kind of share a little bit about it, that I feel like, I think it's a really nice topic.
Yeah, the Code of Jewish Law tells tells us how a Jewish person is supposed to live their life, everything from what we eat to how we pray and how we sleep. And actually, in the beginning, it's one of the first chapters. It talks about how one puts on their shoes, believe it or not. And you put on your right shoe first, and then your left shoe. But then you tie your left shoe first, and then your right shoe. Now, that much I could give you. Why we do that, you got me. You, as they say, you stumped the rabbi. I don't remember offhand. I have to go look at the sources. But the lesson is that, you know, when you see laws like that, it's a reminder that Judaism believes that everything, even minor actions in our life, have a purpose and have a method. And there's no such thing as a meaningless activity, as like just putting on your shoes. Even putting on one's shoes could be in a method that is in sync with the way Hashem guides us in our lives.
Wow. No, it's true. It's true. Even when we put the tefillin a certain way, you have to do it.
Yeah, and it's a similar concept. You put the tefillin on the left hand,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
That's right. Everything has a method to it. So many people live their life like, things don't matter. What's the difference if I do something like this or do something like that? And even worse, sometimes like, what's the difference if I'm honest or not honest? What's the difference if I'm kind or not kind? Like people live sometimes with that. What's the difference? Who cares? But it's interesting by studying smallest minute details on how to put on your shoes and your tefillin. Every strap, every wrap is done with a method and purpose and a meaning and a meditation. So how much more so the other actions in our day? How much everything could have meaning. Being kind versus being selfish, honest being versus being dishonest, so on and so forth. That for sure has a meaning and a purpose.
I love that. Love that, Rabbi. Share a little bit because now we're getting to the New Year's, right? I know for us, this is not technically a New Year for us because we got Yom Kippur, but any
Rosh Hashanah, Rosh
Rosh
Hashanah.
Hashanah, yes, yes. Thank you, Rosh Hashanah. Now, for next week, right? I feel like what any I guess things that that you could share that's inspiring, I guess, to start it off for us. Now we're going to January.
Well, first of all, let's not forget the very ancient Jewish tradition of dropping a giant ball, a giant matzah ball, into a bowl of soup on Friday night. That was a joke. Um,
Oh, sorry, sorry.
sorry. Right? Don't they drop a big matzo ball in a bowl of soup?
They do, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Don't and New Year's is Friday night.
right.
Made that up. There's no such tradition. But if they're dropping a big ball in Manhattan, we should, as Jews, drop something as well. But yeah, look, it's not a new year to us religiously, but the world is going through another cycle. It's a cycle of the sun, another trip around the sun, as they say. Jewish people, we follow the cycle of the moon. We follow the lunar year, and our cycle begins Rosh Hashanah. But it's definitely something that marks a new beginning. Definitely a new time to pay attention to your taxes. You have another 2 days to figure things out. And but the Torah portion we're reading right about now is very relevant because it's the story of the Exodus of Egypt. Everyone knows that story. Either whether you're Jewish or not, it's probably one of the most famous stories of the Jewish people being slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, and Moshe is telling Pharaoh, "Let my people go." And in the next few weeks, we're speaking about the plagues and the splitting of the sea, and going out on the journey to getting the Torah and to the Promised Land. And the story is a very powerful story because it's not only an ancient story, it's a modern story as well. Our sages tell us that each and every one of us lives in our own personal Egypt, so to say, slave to it, like our own inner Pharaoh. And many times that inner Pharaoh stops us from living life fully and stops us from being the best that we can be. So when we study the next few weeks the story of the ancient Hebrews leaving Egypt, it's really a story about our life as well. What's holding me back? What's holding me back from living life fully, from reaching my potential, from living life with meaning, for fulfilling my purpose to this world and a mission? What's stopping me? It's really not just living, but thriving. And so as we read these Torah portions, it's a time for soul searching and to know that we can do it. We can break out. We can do amazing things. And really, it's in our minds, in our own attitude, mind, and head. And so coming to a new cycle, a new beginning, people are making New Year's resolutions. It's a good time to pay attention to the Torah portion and try to find the strength to dream bigger, think bigger, and achieve higher and better than the previous year. I'll leave you off with a joke for the evening. What is a New Year's resolution? It comes in one ear and goes out the next ear. Anyway, pleasure to have you, to be on your program, to be had on your program. Obviously, if you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Rabbi. That was really great. I'm very happy you shared that. I like how you tie it in with the parsha. I like that, like with beautiful. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. For my fans out there, this is Rabbi Raps, one of the best TikTokers out there. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna change your life.
Wow.
And this is, as you guys know, this is the Outlet to Reality every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching. Yeah, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My Snapchat is take one, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And Rabbi Raps, again, where can our fans find you?
Rabbi Raps, RABBI, RAPS on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and probably some other social media outlets that I once signed up for.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you guys.